What's up, everybody? This is your girl, Onney, the CEO, coming to you with another fire segment of Conversations with a King on Outside the Box with Onney. Tonight's segment, listen, it's about escaping the abusive cycle. Yes, men deal with abuse as well. It's a conversation that's not normally had. It's always resources out there to help the women that's been through domestic violence or narcissistic abuse, but we don't have those outlets, those safe spaces for our men. So on tonight's segment, that is what we're having. We're going to have an open dialogue with the king that's going to be able to shed some light on this controversial topic. So I need you guys to buckle up your seatbelts because you're now plugged in, tuned in, tapped in to Outside the Box. Now, the king I have on the show tonight, he's somewhat of a king of controversy, okay? If you may be familiar with him from the Blk Jew World podcast. Yes, they go viral because they talk about some of everything. So tonight I have him on the show to kind of let's go back on one of the topics that he brought up on his show that made me inspired to bring it up on mine. So without further ado, I want you to give it up for Mr. Blk Jew.
That was a dope ass intro.
Thank you so much. The king of controversy.
Why I'm the king of controversy?
Listen, you're going to bring up them topics that people don't want to talk about. Those topics that are swept under the rug, correct. Whether it's religion-based, whether it's spiritual-based, whether it's relationship-based, you always address the elephant in the room. So shout out to you for that, to bringing awareness to topics that people don't necessarily want to always communicate about. Like, don't get me wrong, it's cool to hear you guys talk about sports and what's going on, but to hear you go deeper beyond the surface, I'm like, man, that man has some substance if you just listen to what he have to say.
Right.
And so I don't want to put the wagon before the horse. I want to give everybody an opportunity to kind of get to know who you are as well. Okay. So for those that are listening and those that are watching, hey y'all, tell us what all you do and how we can find you and all that great stuff.
Okay, cool. Well, I'm Blk Jew. That's the name of the podcast, Blk Jew World Podcast. I go by 713 Hebrew. I'm one half of the show. My other co-host, Mitch, he's not here with us today, but you can catch us on YouTube at Blk Jew World Podcast, Instagram, Blk Jew World, TikTok, Blk Jew World, Spotify, Blk Jew World Podcast, and any other podcast platform, you'll find it that way.
Now, you've been on the show, was it about 4 years ago? Was it 3 years ago?
Almost four.
Almost 4.
And that was my first podcast ever.
Really?
And you made the experience so memorable. I think about it all the time. It's my first podcast.
Oh, dope.
And now I'm looking like, oh shit, I got my own pod now and I'm interviewing people. But you inspired me in so many ways.
Thank
and
you,
all I did was came in there for a whole hour. You and the whole team, Mike included.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I love coming here.
I appreciate it. You also record here from time to time as well. So
yes, we're gonna get back here as well. So it's just good vibes here.
Yeah. We just kind of became family, like we locked
instantly.
in.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I appreciate you. You always been supportive. You've always been encouraging.
Yes.
So shout out to you for being a Black king that you are. Okay, I'm giving you your flowers out in public. You know what I'm saying? I ain't gotta do it.
Man, hey, you getting yours as well.
Yeah, because so often our Black men are not acknowledged for their contribution to society.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I think that this should be a platform for that, for you guys to be able to speak open and honestly, transparent, without judgment. Now, we can't help what people think. We can't really worry about how other people judge us anyway. But I'm telling you, this is a space where you can be validated and celebrated. Now, we're going to move on, and we're going to talk about the abusive cycle in relationships and what it starts from. And most of the time, those commonalities are, I hate to use the term narcissist because it's such a trending catchphrase these days.
It really is.
But it's actually, narcissism is on a spectrum.
Yes.
So a person can have narcissistic habits and personality traits, but not be a full-on narcissist. So women
Mm-hmm.
are also narcissists. You know, when I grew up, I always thought that a narcissist was a man that was very vain.
Right.
Like he was very into what he looked like. And I thought that's what a narcissist was.
Right.
And it wasn't until in my adult life
Mm-hmm.
when I don't even know how, I think I was going through, I want to say a dark night of the soul.
Okay.
And I was going through a very low place in my life after a breakup.
Okay.
And I could not put a term on the type of abuse I was dealing with.
Mm-hmm.
It had all of the traits of the gaslighting, the triangulation, and the love bombing, the future faking. It had all the cognitive dissonance that I developed in that dynamic. I didn't know what that was until I knew what it was.
Right. Right.
You understand what I'm saying? So I wanted to ask you about the topic yourself. Now, are you married, divorced?
No, I'm not married.
Okay. You answered that real fast.
No, I'm not married. No.
Okay. He said no.
No, I'm not married.
Okay. What are your thoughts on that, on marriage?
Oh, I'm a huge advocate for it.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. And not to get biblical with it, but it's better to marry than to burn.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we live in a world where it's the complete opposite. We put the cart for the horse all the time, especially us as a people.
Mm-hmm.
And then we wonder why things don't work. We wonder why there's no longevity. We wonder why we go to family reunions and we see a lot of single women. We don't see a lot of couples.
That's true.
And those are things I pay attention to, especially like when I date. It's like I look and see who's single in the family, why they single. You gotta pay attention to things like that, because a lot of people cleave to their families.
Mm-hmm.
And marriage is difficult because you gotta cleave to one another for it to work. Most people want to get married just for the look. I saw a damn link where that woman turned down an engagement ring because it was too small. Mm-hmm. That's the world we live in. We live in such a sugar-coated world, so when someone does come with truth, it's gonna seem like you're throwing darts. It's gonna seem like you're being judgmental. Mm-hmm. But no, I believe marriage should be the way. I don't believe people should be single. I don't believe we was created to be single.
What you think about sex before marriage?
Ooh. Okay, so it's a two-part answer.
Okay. Yeah.
First part, you're not supposed to have sex before marriage.
Yeah.
But I know a lot of people who got divorced because they didn't have sex before marriage, and when the bedroom came, it was dumpster juice. Mm-hmm. And for some people, sex is high on the list, high on the ladder. Mm-hmm. If you're going to be having sex before marriage, you most definitely need to be making plans to be married to that person, not just like frivolous sex here and there. Like, no, we don't need to be doing that. That's why there's so many damn diseases out here in Houston now.
Right.
Everybody just doing whatever.
Well, everybody want to do a test drive, and that means let me see how this car gonna run before I commit to buying it. You understand what I'm saying? And it goes for men and women. You understand what I'm saying? You want to take a test drive. But I think that in relationship, it should be more than that. It should be more than because let me tell you this, it has to be more than physical chemistry. The reason why I say that is because if you're only with someone because you're physically attracted to them, the minute they do something that you don't agree with or that hurts you or make you look at them differently, you're going to notice every unattractive thing about them. You know what I'm saying? It's like, you can't, they don't look good to you no more. You ever had somebody that when you fell for them, they was like so in love, but then when you don't have that connection and you look back, you be like, man, what was I thinking?
Right.
Okay? Because you was
after failure, you think that. You don't think about that before.
But if you get with them initially because of how they look and there's no substance to the relationship, the substance is the key. The substance is the key to good sex. It's the key to good chemistry. Like, can your partner teach you something?
You can't
can
see
you guys
substance.
laugh together? You can't see. No, you have to feel it.
They have to be close to you to understand what substance is. And that's what makes love so difficult and such a risky. It's a risk because You're not going to know how someone truly are until they're very close to you. And you got to just see if they're going to stab you close or they're going to protect you. You can't see that from afar. You can't see that from dating. Everybody shows the world a representation of themselves. Mm-hmm. It's only until you get close to somewhere when you be like, okay, I know this nigga. Okay, this
like
the real
I say,
you.
Like Mama used to say, all new broom sweep clean, baby.
There you go.
You know, when they first come, and this goes for men and women. You know, when they first come around, they gonna tidy up a little bit. Yeah. They might shave their legs, and it's just like, you know, when you go shopping for a corner lot. They're going to take it to the back and wash it and vacuum it and get it right before you test drive it. Because they want you to fall in love with the outside of what they see. You know what I'm saying? And so the same thing with meeting partners. Now, what do you think is a good time frame to be able to determine the character of a person?
If you have a great sense of discernment, it won't take long. But if you just the normal go with the flow type, after 6 months, you should be knowing if you're going to be somewhere for real or not. Everything.
Not necessarily.
I would say 6 months because everyone has, no matter what no one says, everyone got their own checklist. The faster someone checks it off, the faster you're going to go. Some of those boxes might not be checked all the way. Within 6 months, you should know if this man is abusive. Within 6 months, you should know if this man is financially stable. Within 6 months, you should know if this man is a true father to his kids. Is he a steward? Is he a good servant?
But sometimes that's not the case. And I'm telling you from my own personal experience that a person can pretend for a long time depending on their level of comfort in the relationship. If they feel like they have secured you, then yes. But if there's still an element of chase or an element of insecurity of I got you for real, they can hold that mask up as long as necessary. Some people hold that mask up until you say I do. That's why the divorce rate is so high, because they be like, well, damn, before we got married, you was doing this. You was throwing it at me like a, you know what I'm saying, like a boomerang. But, you know what I'm saying? But now we married, and I'm getting it twice in a month, and lucky if it's on Tuesday. You know what I'm saying? Those are type of, I've seen men go months without intimacy in their marriage.
So you believe that men just hit a switch and just turn the intimacy off? You know, they just turn it off?
I think men can feign intimacy.
And you don't think y'all don't do it?
Oh, absolutely.
I believe y'all do it more than we do.
I don't know.
Faking the phone?
I don't know, because I can't generalize it on a sex. I can generalize it on a personality trait. Because they, you know, let me ask you this. Do you think men are designed to cheat?
I believe we are designed not to be monogamous.
Okay. Let me hear more about that.
We can read about it in the scripture.
Okay.
I know we live in a world to where that's kind of shunned upon. It's not even a hierarchy anymore. Men and women literally are on the same platforms. And I don't necessarily agree with that because it throws the original, you know, order, divine order. But we don't live in that world no more. We live in a world now where women make just as much amount of money as men do or more. Y'all are bosses. It's never really been that way. Y'all were designed to be helpmeets. So now when you say that word, it's like kryptonite to some of y'all women. Helpmeet. That's what y'all were designed. See, you see how you you see what I'm saying?
But what I'm saying is, like,
everyone is operating out of their order,
I'm not
natural
arguing
order.
with you. I don't even want you to think I'm the op here. I'm not arguing with you. Yes, there is biblical pretense, and you can even find it in the Quran where it's permissible. However, even the Prophet Muhammad said it is better to have one. You know what I'm saying? It's better to have one. Because
if you can if you need one.
I always find that men that wants to bring up the topic of multiple wives don't have the capacity to create the provision for each one of those women equally.
If he can.
Right.
Would y'all do it? If he could.
If
he could.
I can't say that I would. And I'm not saying I'm for it or against it, because that's not something that's been presented to me.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And I have yet in my lifetime to meet anyone that I would do that for or do that with. But I think that goes back to culture and lifestyle. Like, that's something I'm unfamiliar with. So I can't say that I would never or that
Can we tap into that culture part for a second? Because in our culture, we so used to our fathers, grandfathers, uncles just being pimps, players.
That's
having multiple women, right, on the side. They got a main one, but then they got a whole bunch on the side. The family know about it, but they ain't telling the main one, right? We never seen it to a point where
everybody know about.
Yeah, it's a covenant. But it be the women that be like, oh, I ain't sharing myself, nothing like that. But there's plenty of y'all who got a man, and you know when he walking out y'all door, he going to another woman's house.
Sharing them anyway.
You know this. You sharing them anyway. You have a sister wife. You just ain't met her yet. He need to sit both of y'all down.
Shout out to all my sister wives. Hey, y'all.
And we hearing more about it now more than ever. But we like, it be, for real, I'm dead ass because it's lack of knowledge.
Yeah.
You be like, oh, I'm against poly and all that. You don't understand the beauty of it.
Yeah.
But because a lot of y'all want to just do this here and do that there, that's why the HIV is so high in Houston.
But you can't bring poly into a dynamic for the sake of control and not have the structure that is required to do that. See, a lot of men in our society, they want to adopt this poly lifestyle. Oh, we could have, we could have multiple wives and this, that, and the other. But then they don't really have the correct principles as far as, like you said, it's a covenant, it's a partnership, it's a building. They really want a stable of women that's out there working and bringing home the check to them while they tell these women what they gonna do with their money. There's like new age pimping now. It's not the covenant that you're talking about. Instead of them making provision for all these women are working to make provision for him like he's some king or God or something like that. So, like I said, I'm not educated enough on it, on the culture, on the lifestyle itself, but from what I've been privy to and what I've witnessed in my lifetime, it's not something that I feel like I could do. Because I'm not big on sharing. I mean, would you be? And I know that it goes against the norm, like men weren't designed to share their woman, right? And so, now it's like a trending thing. I found myself posting it before, like, okay, well, you determine how we gonna act today. You know what I'm saying? In other words, like, if it's okay for you to move like this, then it's okay for me to move like this. And if me saying that to you creates a reaction in you or triggers you to get upset, then that should already tell you that you moving shifty already.
Yeah, you got a point there.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't expect for me to submit to someone who doesn't give me the respect that they ask for.
I believe women should already be naturally submissive. A lot of women
are when they feel safe.
See, Mike, that's what I'm talking about. It got to be with conditions. It has to be with conditions.
Listen, you can't be talking.
You know why a lot of relationships are not working out here? You know why a lot of relationships and marriages are failing? And I'm no counselor or therapist. No one is loving unconditionally no more. Once you get that first heartbreak, I hate to say that you're done. It's not that you're done. No one will ever get the full self of you ever again. They might get 92%. You're going to hold at 8.
I used to say I believed in unconditional love until I had to have conditions.
See?
Until I had to have conditions. And those conditions were healthy boundaries, emotional intelligence, trustworthiness. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's all good to say, okay, I love you unconditionally, but then the conditions of me loving you is you need to be trustworthy. You need to be safe. You can't be whooping my ass. You can't be spending out my money. You can't be cheating on me. You can't be, because then you be like, well, I thought you loved me. I love you, but I also love me enough to let you go.
You know what unconditionally means? You don't leave.
I know what that means.
It means that you don't leave.
Well, like, I'm not Jesus.
Well, here's the thing. It wasn't too far back in our generations to where, like, our grandmas and great grandmas, they didn't go nowhere.
Right. They lived a long, miserable life.
Why was it miserable? Papa Jew might have had 2 or 3 other kids outside the family,
listen,
but Mama kept it peace. She didn't tell nobody
in the South,
because he took care of the household.
Do you know in the South there was this rule called a rule of thumb? Do you know what the rule of thumb was?
What was it?
I mean, that man can hit you with anything as long as it's not thicker than the size of his thumb. Right. So he can go get a switch, a stick, or whatever, and whip his wife. As long as it wasn't bigger than that, he was in trouble.
Right.
That is crazy. That's what we, generational trauma, that's what we come from, right?
Right.
So men had all these passes
Yeah.
to go out and have kids down the street, around the corner, with women they never married.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I have 8 brothers and sisters.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? On my father's side.
Large family.
But, you know, my mom had 3 kids, but she had 2 for my dad.
Right.
But all together, it's 9 of us.
Okay.
Okay?
9 total.
And 9 kids, 8 baby mamas. You know what I'm saying? So that's a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah, that's a lot that's a lot of spreading that you have to do. When you start dealing with those type of things and being okay with what happens when the triad you have breaks apart.
That's true.
Because I've seen, I ain't saying no names, I have friends that are into the poly lifestyle.
Yeah.
And it was a couple in particular that they were married and the wife had went beyond her childbearing years.
Yeah.
Right? So they decided to take on a second wife.
Right.
Because she was within her childbearing years because he wanted a namesake.
Which is a great reason on why poly exists.
Right.
It's not for a fleshy, lusty reasons. It's for reasons such as that. Go ahead.
But when the original husband and wife fell apart,
right,
and this woman here now, she's giving him something that she can't have. She can't give her husband.
Uh-huh.
And they start falling apart, but they don't never fall apart.
Right.
So now this wife is having to deal with the idea that she succumbed to bringing this other woman into her marriage.
Yeah.
And her husband now has a child with this other woman.
Right.
And she can't deal with that dynamic anymore. See, that's not for the weak. It's not for someone to just play into that lifestyle and not be ready for what comes with it.
But she knew exactly what was coming with that. That's why the other wife came because she was fertile.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so she's honoring her husband by allowing his lineage to keep going. If you love your husband, that's exactly what you would do. Mm-hmm. Again, loving with conditions. And that's what most people do. And that's why a lot of relationships fall short, is because you gotta love with no limits. No limits. Most people say they healed. I don't believe that. I don't believe that. That's why it be so many limitations and boundaries that have to be set. Because if you healed, you ready to go. When you kind of wounded still, you got to set up parameters so therefore no one else can come and finish off what someone else did. And that's why I say, like, we talk about narcissism, like, you have those who are actually narcissists, and then it's another side that we don't talk about it, and that's the reason why we keep attracting narcissists and why they keep being around. Like, why do I keep having communion and union with a narcissist? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It's something going on here for that to be happening.
Yes.
It's something has to be happening here for you to keep attracting the same type of man. And that's why accountability is so huge. And I'm big on that with women. It's not that it's king of controversy. It's that I'm all about the black family structure. And for that to happen, it ain't just bashing one another. I know we see a lot of that on social media, man versus woman. It's a lot of important shit coming to the table that we need to talk about. And if men bring their funky asses with their responsibility and tighten that up, and all y'all got to do is bring y'all accountability to the table and tighten that up, everything else will level itself out. We'll be getting rid of the narcissism and all. Though they will have to find hosts, because once we get centered as a people, because narcissism it's an addiction. Mm-hmm. And if you are of this world, that's why this is a spiritual walk that we're in. If you are of this world, only way you can attach to this world is through an addiction. You're gonna be addicted to something. Mm-hmm. That's why when you spiritual, it's free. You're set free. But if you part of this world, you got to be addicted to something: drugs, alcohol, gambling, women, pornography, shopping, something, anything.
Well, I definitely want to get further into this conversation. We're gonna take a quick break to get a word from our sponsors, and we'll be right back. I'm Lenora Laws, CEO of Onney Studios located in Houston, Texas. At Onney Studios, we specialize in delivering top-tier audio and visual talk show and podcasting services tailored to meet all your production needs. Our fully equipped studio offers multiple recording sets, allowing you to bring your unique vision to life. Whether you're a talk show host or podcaster, we have packages that cater to every level of your experience. Our dedicated tech team is here to assist you every step of the way. We also offer logo design, comprehensive editing services, and to ensure fast turnaround times on all your recorded content. Ready to take your podcast to the next level? Ask about our season recording packages and director's assistance by contacting us at 346-491-5315 or log on to onneystudios.com for more information. Now, we were talking about the narcissist,
Right.
in the relationships. You were just getting into that,
Yeah.
though that mindset of a demon. You know, a lot of times, and we were talking about how you're supposed to be able to acknowledge that this person is toxic within 6 months.
Yeah.
Not necessarily if they're mirroring you or if they've learned your patterns, you know, and know what your triggers are. You understand what I'm saying?
Or what if they checked off all your boxes and you just ignoring red flags? Now who's really the victim?
That's true.
You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like, it works both ways. We're very smart humans. Only a few of us is kind of slow. We will ignore things, especially if they're strong in other areas.
Mm-hmm.
And for most women, that's what that is. And us men, we know that.
Mm-hmm.
We know that that's what y'all really want, to be taken care of, that strong provision, that monetary provision. Just think about it. Women will put up with anything for someone that's high value.
But that, again, high value as a woman, I'm just going to tell you this. I believe that the society has even convinced men that the only thing that make them high value is their pocketbook. And that is not true.
Y'all did.
No, well,
Y'all influenced that. It ain't society.
listen.
Women do.
Some women, I get it, because they only equate you to your pocketbook. Your money don't make you high value. It's a whole lot
Right.
of rich sluts out here.
Correct.
You understand what I'm saying?
Correct.
Both men and females, you know. So that doesn't make you high value because you have a lot of money, just because you could create provision. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that you could have good qualities and be broke and still be high value.
See how it go hand in hand?
Mm-hmm.
How many friends you know dealing with a man may not really like their situation, but he got the bag? I think we all know. We all know women like that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And it's more common than not. It's more common than not. So when we talk about narcissism and all that, we got to say, okay, hell yeah, narcissism exists. But am I putting myself in that environment just because he check off a whole bunch of other boxes?
Mm-hmm.
Am I willing to put up with it? And then a lot of y'all think y'all have this power just like, boom, I'm going to change them. You got to believe people when they show and tell themselves from the get-go.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Yeah, because sometimes they can take a while to show themselves, and that's where the cognitive dissonance comes in.
big facts.
Because you see what they're doing right now,
Yeah,
but it's hard to wrap your mind around it because they've been doing this for so long
right.
the right way. Do you just flip because they do this one thing, but this one thing could be so big that you can't unsee it?
Now, that's true. There are extremes,
Mm-hmm.
and there are exceptions.
Mm-hmm.
Then you're like, okay, I got to get going.
Right.
Abuse most definitely is one of them.
Mm-hmm. And I feel like that when a person is not monogamous with you and
Right.
they're having multiple partners, that's sexual abuse. Because they're not even telling you, they're not giving you the option to protect yourself. Because not everybody.
If he's not telling you.
Yeah.
And if you don't know.
Yeah, if you don't know.
If you don't know, he not telling you. Yeah.
Yeah, because condoms don't stop everything.
Correct.
You know, and here I am, and I done got up with a bum bump because I don't know that you out here with community peen. You understand what I'm saying? So it's, you have to be able to protect yourself or protect your partner. It doesn't, protection and provision does not just come monetarily from either side, whether it's from your side or from my side. And when it goes back to being submissive in your relationship. Like, a woman is not going to be in her soft girl era with somebody that's going to keep her in fight or flight.
Are you going to be in your soft girl era for a man that work at Taco Bell?
No, because he doesn't have the provision that's required to obtain. Now, there's a woman out there for him. There's a woman out here dating your tax bracket. Hey, look, it's a woman out here for him that's going to love him and his Taco Bell paycheck. But I'm not trying to battle with a man dealing with his insecurities because I'm not at Taco Bell. I might be buying a Taco Bell,
okay,
but I'm not working at Taco Bell.
Right.
So no, that's gonna trigger a lot of things in a man when he goes and he pull a woman that he's not qualified to keep, and he start trying to bring her back down to where he is because he can't handle her light.
Now, what about y'all pulling men that y'all not qualified to keep?
Hey,
how does that work? Because now you won't get that man at Taco Bell the time of day because he in there making double-decker tacos. But the one that dude that got the bag, he got the whips, he got the house. There's gonna be some things that's gonna come with that. So
at
just
one
like you
point, I thought like that.
You may be better. You think you?
But in these 40s, honey.
Okay.
I have realized that I need to be my own. I need to bring my own bag. I need to have my own security. That way I'm not looking for a man to take care of me.
Right.
I'm looking for a man that I can add to.
Okay, see,
that's different.
It's a thin line with that.
I can't compete or compare with the women that are shallow or don't have any substance. I don't think from that aspect. I'm a creative. I create the life I want to live. So when you start talking about women that, now don't get me wrong, I didn't put up with some stuff for comfort before, but I still have boundaries.
Yeah. And I'm all about women getting their money, getting their bag. You got a choice you got to make, though. Because if you got the bag, you're not really trying to be a wife. You're really looking for a man to remove that reproach away from you, and y'all just going to be partners.
No.
Partners and husband and wife are different. Partners and husband and wife are different.
Why do you say so?
Most women are looking for partners because y'all don't want to take the wife role because y'all gonna think it lessens y'all value because now y'all value is so high now to where y'all can be bosses, CEOs.
But I feel like a wife is a boss in her own right.
A wife.
She's supposed to be your wife is supposed to be the most solid player you have on your team. Your wife, if your position in her life is to provide, her position in your life should be able to cultivate that provision to multiply that provision.
And if she
can't do that, her job is to be soft with you, not soft with the world.
But how you gonna be soft when you're a boss? And if you the woman and you providing, you're going to be in your masculine energy.
Absolutely.
So you see what I'm saying? You see how it works? Like, because everything is out of order, we find mixed matches with people. Mm-hmm. That's why nothing's not sticking. They have these qualities, but no, it's not that. I met a lot of great women, but they're just so masculine because they got the same agenda as men do, chasing the bag.
But you know what? That comes from, and I can speak from my own personal experience.
Yeah.
I used to think that I was an overachiever just because I was a go-getter.
Right.
That is not the truth.
Mm-hmm.
My overachiever attitude and the fact that I have all these accolades was really a trauma response.
Oh, okay.
You understand what I'm saying? It was a trauma response from abandonment trauma. Just people not being there for me when I needed them.
Right.
The people that were supposed to keep me safe failed to do so.
Right.
So I had to be my own protection. I had to be my own savior. I couldn't wait for Captain Saver to come and create a safe space for me. I had to create my own safe space. Within that element, true, their space, I still have allowance for someone to come and put me in a soft space, but I can't wait for that to survive. So in my survivorship, yes, maybe I do have a little masculine energy, but it's not to say that I'm doing that to demean the man or I'm in my masculine energy because I want to be the boss or I want to control things. I would love to have a partner that I could submit to, that I could learn from, that can guide me in relationship areas. But until that happens, I have to guide myself. It's probably why I'm not married. But that's a whole nother, You know what I'm saying? Horse of another color, because we don't have. I can't sit and wait for someone to come and create a soft space for me. I can't wait for someone to create a lifestyle for me. You know, men want women to submit, but then when it's time for them to provide, it's just the dating pool got pissed in it. Let's just go on and call it out what it is. You know what I'm saying? And as you get older and you get wiser, you start seeing more and more people are on their BS. You understand what I'm saying?
And that's when you start realizing that looks aren't everything.
No, they're not.
But it's a thin line with that as well, because a lot of the value women possess is in y'all looks.
I don't know.
That's why y'all get fly.
The most attractive thing on my body is above my shoulders and behind my eyes.
What you talking about?
My brain.
I can't see that if I met you at 50-15.
I
can't see that. That's not what I'm looking at. You know what I'm saying? I got to get close to you and get to know that TikTok in there is good.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You got to let me into that space.
I can't see that 50-15.
And the thing is, with us as Negroes, we're very prideful people. Mm-hmm. So, and a lot of us are getting these millions self-made. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It's hard to even just want to share that with others, because just naturally we don't share as a people. Mm-hmm. We charge for our resources. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? We charge a lot to share our resources. Crazy. Niggas be out here taxing. But
God said your gifts will make room for you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And in the scriptures, it also describe a lot of women who were beautiful. Mm-hmm. Beauty just can't be everything. Beauty is vain. But that don't mean that, again, everybody got boxes. Mm-hmm. Everybody got boxes.
Well, you know, I would love to go on and on about this conversation. You know, we could talk for hours.
Yes, we can.
So I want to remind you, because like I said, controversial topics, you guys have to be sure that you keep following this journey with Conversations with the King. We're talking about things. We're addressing the elephants in the room. So for those that are listening and watching and they want to follow you on social media, can you give us your Instagram page?
Instagram, TikTok, Blk Jew World. YouTube, Blk Jew World Podcast. Spotify, Blk Jew World Podcast.
So you guys make sure go check that out, hit that subscribe button. And also, I want to remind you guys that we are on multiple platforms. You can find us on every podcast network there is. You can also catch us on Third Coast TV, iTunes, iHeartRadio. We are everywhere. And if you like what you hear, you like what you see, be sure to come and join the Outside the Box family by going to our YouTube page and hit the subscribe button and click the bell notification so that you can be notified when we drop a new segment. And if you want to come and sit on the couch with me for me to get all in your business, we're also casting. Make sure you send your EPK to otb.liveshow@gmail.com, and one of our casting directors will get back to you to see how you could be a perfect fit on the couch with me. Also, if you like the content and you want to be a podcaster yourself, make sure you log on to www.onneystudios.com, or you can give us a call at 346-491-5315 and find out how you can bring your vision to fruition today. I want to thank you, Blk Jew, for coming on the show, letting me get all in your business, ruffling a few feathers, creating a conversation. If you guys like the topic, leave us some comments. Let us know what you think. Let's create a dialogue. Let's address the elephants in the room. I want to thank you for coming and being on the show.
I love being here. Thanks for having me.
And allow me to give you your flowers.
I appreciate that.
I want to thank you guys for being faithful watchers and for joining the journey. I'm going to see you next week. Same time, same place. I'm your girl, Onney the CEO. You're plugged in, tuned in, tapped in to Outside the Box.